So we're here with Edna Johnston, and we're just in the room of her house, which is right in the middle of the Scrabble estate. So Edna, how long have you lived in this house?
62 years.
My God, 62 years. So
Yeah.
you'll have seen a lot of changes, I'm sure, through your 62 years.
Yes, many, neighbours shifting, but not too bad.
Good. So 62 years in the Scrabble estate. And what about family? What family have you got? Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren now maybe as well?
I have 2 sons, 1 daughter, 7 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchildren on the way.
My goodness me. Good. So that'll keep you busy, a big family like that.
Well, when you get to my age, they just visit, like you don't have to mind.
Well, that's quite nice. They come for a while and then leave.
That's right, Nicole.
That's good. Well, let me take you back to an experience you and your late husband, Jimmy, had in earlier life, which completely changed the whole outlook of your life and your whole future. So tell us a wee bit about how that came about, what led up to that, to you and your husband becoming Christians.
Well, what led up to it was a coffee morning at my sister Jean Johnston's house, and I had said I would help her with the tea. I could have went anywhere that morning. I remember tying a blouse I had on me about 20 times. I didn't want to go. But when I went round, John Spears was here doing a mission in Scrub Hall. And he was at the wee coffee morning, and that's how she had set it up for him and asked us and neighbours. And so I went round, and I sat in a puffy just beside where John was sitting. I never heard a word that man said. I started crying then, and all I did hear was his father wrote on the flyleaf of his Bible, born to die, and his birth date, and then born to live the day he got saved. And I remembered that, and I remember writing it later in my own flyleaf,
Brilliant. So you listened to him giving that message, but were impacted by what was written on the Bible. And then yourself, you trusted Jesus?
Yes, well, I went in to help with tea, and John followed me, and he says, Edna, what would keep you from trusting Jesus? Your family, your friends, or your prados, as I know, my own stubbornness, John. So, and then he prayed with me, and as he prayed, I said, come into my life, Lord Jesus. Come in today and come in to stay.
Brilliant. And how long ago was that?
That was 34 years ago. The 19th of February, 1987.
Fantastic. And then what about, how did that impact your family, your late husband Jimmy and other members of the family?
I went to the mission that night, and Jimmy says, I'll go with you, Edna. So that he came with me and that. And Jimmy got saved, but it would have been the week after. But that's how it happened. Right. So it did. And it was an impact, truthfully, on my family too. They didn't say much, just that was it. They were married, and Karen was still here, you can see. But that was my daughter, so that was she went about things just the way she had.
Good. Well, that's good that, change in you as a couple. Now, let me fast forward all these years later from that point where you became a Christian to 2019. And you got a diagnosis, a cancer diagnosis. And you're now living with that terminal cancer diagnosis. So how does a decision that you made so many years before to become a Christian, how has that impacted how you've lived with this very serious cancer diagnosis that you received?
Well, I think it's more terminal cancer, and there was no treatment. So I take that as a treatment. When the Lord saved me, he took my cancer and he gave me a peace that the Bible tells you passes all understanding, and it does, you know. Uh, I was shocked at the time, but, well, Gina and Gwen says I was shocked. I didn't feel that, I must admit. I'd asked the doctor what way it would progress. He says, oh, I couldn't tell you, Mrs. Johnson. I says, well, that's all I wanted to know, for I have the Lord for everything else. And he just said, well, that's something, yeah, that's good. That's all he said. Dr. Beckett was.
So you've lived with that now for 2 years.
Yes, and I put it down to, well, there was a pastor in Birmingham had phoned me and he asked me, could he pray for me? And he did there and then. And the other bit's a wee bit funny, so I don't know, but I'll tell you anyway. He says to me, Miss Johnson, or Edna, he said, he used my first name when I told him it. Would you put your hand on your kidney? Well, I didn't. I have to tell you, I didn't know, not my kidney, my liver. I didn't know where my liver was. So I put my hand on both sides to be doubly sure. And he prayed for me. So that was awful good for me. Awful good often even to do that, like, you know. But the prayers of my church family have sustained me. Really, they have. And, you know, we're asked to love one another. I have been a recipient of that love. I'm so thankful, and I feel the strength of the prayers, but of course, the strength of the Lord.
Fantastic. And you've also been an inspiration, I think, to people watching, how you have dealt with that. And I think it's important that people would understand that becoming a Christian is not just about praying a prayer and then that's it. It changes your whole outlook in life. And when you deal with difficulties as well, it gives you that peace, that strength, and that security in Christ that nothing can compare to. So